So before we begin our control system design, we need to take care of some basic things. If we take care of these basic things, the design becomes much simpler. First thing is we should represent physical energy storage elements like inductors and capacitors as integrations. They basically integrate one quantity and output is the state variable associated with that physical element. So for example, to control the output voltage, the capacitor current needs to be manipulated by the controller. So the controller should emulate a current source while trying to control the output voltage of a capacitor. Similarly, for an inductor, the applied voltage VL needs to be manipulated by the controller, which will ultimately control the inductor current. Information quantities, which are quantities used in software, should be interpreted as having physical units. You may end up with something that is more than a standard PID and more mathematics, but the trade-off is you will have better performance and the system design will mimic natural way of doing things. So this is the Buck LC circuit block diagram. So the input is Vx. From that, V0 gets subtracted to get VL, which is the applied voltage across the inductor. This applied voltage gets integrated to give inductor current. From the inductor current, the output current gets subtracted to give capacitor current. The capacitor current is integrated to give the output voltage. So as you see, nature provides us a feedback from V0 which gets subtracted from Vx. Since we are trying to control V0, this natural feedback acts to complicate things. Therefore, it may be desirable to take care of this a priori. This process is called output voltage decoupling. The system subtracts V0 from the applied voltage Vx. The difference, which is the inductor voltage, ultimately determines the inductor current. The dynamics of the current and voltage are cross-coupled. So to simplify the system dynamics, we add V0 a priori and then apply the new voltage. So instead of Vx, the applied voltage being just error times a gain, we add V0 there. This simplifies the system to the figure shown here, and it allows us the mathematical analysis to be more intuitive. Disturbance rejection or load regulation. We have an output capacitor. When a load is applied, the output voltage dips. Our goal is to ensure that the output voltage stays to the desired value as close as possible and the dips are minimized. So the ratio of output current and output voltage is known as disturbance rejection. This is a performance metric. It essentially says that how much load I need to apply to produce 1 unit dip in the output voltage. Higher this absolute value, the better or the stiffer your system is. So in this plot here, which is a typical system plot, there are different regions which have different slopes. The different regions are determined by the gains and by the passive components like L and C. It is very important to take this disturbance rejection into consideration because if it is poor, the output voltage will not stay as close to the desired value. Lastly, if the load current can be measured, then a priori action can be taken, which automatically improves this metric. The output of the controller is Vx, which is the voltage that gets applied to the LC circuit. However, the DSC or the processor only generates a duty cycle value. The relation between duty cycle and the output voltage or the applied voltage for a buck converter is D into Vin is equal to Vx. So the switches take the value D and apply a voltage of Vx. In the processor, it is possible to implement the inverse process. So the output of the controller is in volts, Vx, then we convert it in software to a value D, which is loaded into the duty cycle registers. Having DSPs or digital signal controllers allows easy implementation, which is not possible in analog systems, as divide with a variable is expensive in analog systems. Closed loop system transfer function if you write it as a function of s, the Laplace variable, then we need to consider the denominator polynomial. The denominator polynomial in S is called as the characteristic equation. The roots of this equation are known as eigenvalues or bandwidths. Essentially, these roots determine the dynamics of the control system. These values are fixed by choice and system specs. The gains, the Kp, Ki, Kd, are determined by reverse calculation once the bandwidths are fixed. The reverse calculation can be performed for different types of controller and is discussed later. One popular methodology of control is called voltage mode control. In that, only the output voltage feedback is taken. There are no current sensors and no current measurements are performed. Due to the L and C circuit, the roots of the characteristic equation in open loop are always oscillatory, and no matter how we try to control, it always suffers from poor dynamics. Due to that, only a PI controller is not enough. A D term is essential to improve the dynamics. So the equations for disturbance rejection and command tracking are given below. The one is written in a different color because if output voltage decoupling is performed, this one is eliminated. How are the bandwidths selected for voltage mode control? Here you see the disturbance rejection plot for voltage mode controller. Essentially, your characteristic equation is a cubic equation which will have three roots at minus 2 pi f1, minus 2 pi f2 and minus 2 pi f3. f1, f2, f3 are the bandwidths which you have to select by choice. Each of them should have a factor of 3 between them. So f1 is greater than 3 times of f2, f2 is greater than 3 times of f3. By setting the roots of the characteristic equation to be minus 2 pi f1, minus 2 pi f2 and minus 2 pi f3 in turn, we get three linear equations with three unknowns, Kd, Kp and Ki. We can solve these three linear equations to obtain the values for Kd, Kp and Ki. In current mode control, current feedback is measured and an inner P current control is used. The reference for this inner P current controller is generated by the outer voltage loop. The outer voltage loop is a PI controller. The current loop substitutes for the D term used in voltage mode controller previously. By having current mode control, it is much easier to do the control system design. The inner fast current loop allows fast current control. So the outer voltage loop sees an ideal current regulator which provides the current that is required instantaneously. So this is the block diagram of current mode controller. Another popular control strategy is known as peak current mode control. In peak current mode control, current loop is implemented in hardware. The outer voltage loop generates a current reference. The hardware, which basically consists of a comparator, allows cycle by cycle current limiting of the measured current to the reference set by the outer voltage loop. In peak current mode control, we can approximate this as having an ideal current regulator. Basically, you get the current that is desired instantaneously. These are the three strategies that are usually used in power converter